I don't want to be strong like man who look pretty. I want to be strong like bitch that fight bears in the forest.
Episode 10.
Episode 10.
New year. New
New
you.
you.
What do? So that is the theme of January, because a lot of us start off January being like, gonna overhaul everything about my life and my personality.
And make it all better.
And then it's like, well, where do I start?
Yeah.
And so this is really fitting because this is coming out the first Wednesday of
Yes.
January, the first Wednesday in January. And, you know, we're going to hopefully maybe give you some guidance on where to start if you don't know where to start, or maybe if you've done things in the past and you're like, that didn't really work out well for me. So this, we're going to maybe approach it slightly different than some other people would, but I think our way is maybe more sustainable, I hope.
Our way is the right way, obviously.
Obviously. So we're going to talk today a little bit about that, what I think has become like a forbidden word, like resolutions.
I mean, I think it feels forbidden to us because we know that that's not a great way to approach it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's not forbidden to everyone else.
Maybe not. I think there has been a shift of like, don't set resolutions like in society. And I don't have so much a problem with the word itself, but I think people get wrapped up and don't set good goals for themselves. Like, I think really what a resolution is like a goal or an intention. And when you frame it that way, it feels different than a resolution.
Right.
So maybe changing the word helps people kind of like
setting intentions.
Yeah. I think that's why. So why do we celebrate New Year's? It's kind of an interesting, cool thing, rooted in history, of course. Why do we celebrate New Year's? Well, we celebrated Julius Caesar did a reform, and that's kind of where it came from. It's the first day of the year, and it's to honor a Roman god. American version, apparently the way you say this is Janus, and it just makes me think of Friends.
Yes.
So the Roman god Janus, who is the god of beginnings and had two faces, which allowed him to look both into the past and into the future. So the day of December 31st, looking backwards at the year that's passed, and then looking to the new year. So
exactly.
Kind of cool.
So that's kind of why New Year's Eve is commonly thought of as a turning point, right? Time for setting those new intentions or goals for the upcoming year. However, data shows that resolutions really don't work, like we've been saying. Only about 50% of people actually stick to them for the first month. And by 2 years out, 80% of people have just given up on their resolutions. I'm one of those people.
One of those people.
It's me.
It's me. I'm the problem. So we've all come to realize that there isn't a manual for life. Like, how easy would it be if there actually was a manual for life? So every new year, every new season, I like to think of it as like a great opportunity to reflect and learn and use that time. You know, anytime there's like a good marker, and that's why I think like new seasons, because you get like 3 months of data. It's a good time to like take some time to reflect. And reflection, I think, is the key to unlocking the resolution success rate.
Yes, exactly.
Like, without that factor, when you just like blindly set an arbitrary goal that you're just like, maybe it's December 31st, and you like look around the room and you're like, I want $1 million by the end of this year. And you just like randomly throw it out. It's like, well, why did you set that? And how are you going to achieve it? And what's the whole purpose? You're just like blindly throwing out things.
Seems fine to me.
I mean, yeah, who doesn't want $1 million? But like, if you're the one who just like needs to earn it, or like,
oh right, yeah,
it can't just be like, oh, here it is, it rains down. Like the game show with the tube of money, and you had to go in and grab it all. That would be cool. That's what happens on December 31st.
Your New Year's resolution.
Yeah. I want a tube
To end up in a tube of money.
in a tube of money. That's my resolution. Sounds like a weird stripper. I don't know about that.
All right, tell us more about your reflections.
So reflections give us data, and data is, very helpful. It can tell us what moved us forward, what kept us stuck, what brought us joy, what brings us some pain. So again, reflecting is just a way to gather data, and data is really important when trying to achieve goals.
What?
I know, right? Revelation.
Shocking.
I
had no idea. So like a year is a long time, and a lot can happen.
Mm-hmm.
When I was putting together if you haven't seen it, go look. It's adorable. The reel for our
year-end review or whatever. Yeah.
I follow the template. It's like a trending thing. I don't know. But it was great. I was like, wow, goddamn, a lot has happened in a year.
Yeah.
It's only been the last year when we officially became a business.
Yeah.
We started running studio classes.
Yeah.
We started this. It's wild what can happen in a year.
Yes.
So reflection can be hard if you're doing it once a year and looking back over the entire year.
Yes.
So we have some tips to help you with this. We're not just going to leave you stranded with no way forward. So the first tip that we have is to keep a list or a journal throughout the year. And this doesn't mean, obsessively, religiously journaling every day for 6 pages. It's, just writing down small details, maybe once a week, maybe every couple of days, whatever works for you. It can be easy to overlook or forget those details without writing them down, unless you have a crazy good memory, which I do not, so I don't know what that's like. But you can focus on big events, people that you've met, changes that have had an impact on you, or choices that you made, and see where those led you. You can record who you spend a lot of time with and how that has impacted you or your choices, because I know that can sometimes impact your choices. So journaling is good. It's a good thing, or just jotting things down in a planner. I don't know, however you like to do it.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm guilty of the hoping a new journal will change my life.
Sometimes
every
it does.
year.
Sometimes
every year.
It can. It's just
I'm trying to find the right one.
Maybe you'll take some tips from this and it'll be your year.
I'm hoping. I've already started.
Oh, good.
I ordered a journal from this lovely woman-owned company in Scotland. I'm so excited.
Amazing. Send me the link. You know how I love journals.
I do.
I do record a lot, but my problem is going back and looking at it.
Yes.
So the review part of it. Yeah. So speaking of that, it's important to set aside some time to do a year-end review, because what's the data good for if you don't actually look at it at the end and actually culminate it?
Right. It's just sitting there.
So if you're going to do a year-end review, here are some ideas for brainstorming things that'll get you started. You'll notice that there's a very significant number, 3. Why? I don't know. I just felt like 3 was, it provided enough data.
It's your power number.
It's the power number. Yeah. So here are some brainstorming ideas. 3 times you were the most proud of yourself, or just whatever. The 3 things that you were most proud of. 3 moments that caused you the most stress, or maybe you overreacted, and see if you can find a common thread there. 3 people that positively contributed to your year. So this is where it's helpful, jotting down who you spend a lot of time with, because generally who you're spending a lot of time with may correlate to this. So it can be super helpful. 3 habits that aren't serving you. So maybe 3 things that you typically do and you're like, why am I even doing that? Yeah. 3 things that excite you the most for the upcoming year, and 3 things that could serve you better.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So those are just some brainstorming, and you can pick other things, as you see fit, but those are good places to start.
Nice.
It's a nice little template.
And, so Sid's tips, and this has been talking about reflections, kind of for the year end, but it's also important to do this year round.
Mm-hmm.
And we know people get busy. We get busy. So as silly as it might feel at first, it can be helpful to actually schedule time to do this. It might seem a little crunchy granola to be like, this is my reflection time, but it can only serve you better, right?
Yeah. Some people do it, go on a little solo hiking trip, or I'm just gonna.
What's that cliche? The book or the movie where they go? She goes hiking. Never mind.
Okay.
It's a thing. It was on Gilmore Girls. There's a whole thing.
Oh,
anyways.
Gotcha.
So yeah, put it on your calendar.
Yeah.
Block out actual time. And it doesn't have to be a huge time frame. If you're just starting out with this and it feels weird and new and you don't know what to do, don't set aside an hour for it. Set aside 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And take 10 minutes to just think about your week and jot down some notes. I don't know, whatever. And, build up if you want to, if that's feeling good.
Yeah. I think that's great, especially for people who have struggled with journaling in the past. Maybe it's not an everyday thing. It's okay, at the end of the week, I'm just going to take 10 minutes and I'm just going to just brain dump onto a piece of paper. Yeah. Doesn't even have to be coherent. As long as you can understand what it is when you go back to look at it.
Yeah.
You should be able to read it.
Maybe brain dump and then maybe organize it a little.
Yeah, maybe.
For future use.
Yeah. And as with anything else that you do, if you don't know where to start or what to do with your reflections, ask for help. Mm-hmm. That's a big thing. So get your friend or your partner or your spouse to bounce ideas around with you, and maybe they'll offer you a view of your reflections that you weren't thinking about. Different perspectives can be super helpful. You can also talk to a professional, like a life coach or a therapist. They are incredible resources.
Yeah.
Highly recommend. Most millennials have probably been in therapy. Go back if there's somebody you vibed really well with. Be like, hey, I don't know if I necessarily need full-on therapy right now, but I want to start these things. Maybe you can help me out.
And maybe you just set in a check-in a few times a year.
Yeah.
Just to have somebody to talk to about it,
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I haven't started my therapy yet, but I think that seems reasonable. That's something they do.
Yeah.
So those are some tips for reflections. So we know that those traditional classic New Year's resolutions are kind of like having a toddler push a car up a hill with a dog. It's cute, but not doing much.
Just love the image I have is Gracie. She's pulling on the toddler.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just not. It's cute. It's just not doing much.
So instead of making those arbitrary goals, like we were talking about earlier, you want to focus on, So instead of making the goals that focus on one aspect of your health or your life, like weight loss, which is a big one that lots of people try every year, try tying. My notes are just a little too far away.
I can tell, yeah. You can bring them closer, make it bigger.
Well, I'd have to rearrange those.
Okay, it's fine.
So try tying your goals into the reflections that you've made, either just right now or looking back over your reflections of the year and seeing a common theme. And focus on areas where you want to see growth or change in your life. And this doesn't necessarily have to be based on your physical appearance. And that can sometimes be hard because I feel like that's the thing we see.
Yes.
Like
yeah.
that's the most tangible thing that we're like, oh, I want to change that.
Yeah.
I know I feel like that every time I wake up, but that's not my resolution. So we also have some tips for this.
Yeah. Because it can be hard, like you said, because it's the place that we start because we see it so often and we can see the changes in our body, and we also have an idea of what we look like and or those kinds of things from like our past that we really hang on to. Like, I'm sorry, there's no way I'm going to be able to look like what I did when I was 18. But like coming out of college, high metabolism, like spending all my time playing sports, could eat whatever, like that is never going to be an attainable goal for me.
Yeah.
So here are some things that directly affect your health and well-being that are not tied to, say, weight loss or your physical appearance. Oral hygiene. This is a big one.
It's so big.
It's so big. Okay, so
and I don't think it's something anyone really thinks about as like a goal or something to focus on.
No, it never. And when somebody mentioned this to me, I was like, oh, that's amazing. Like,
so
what?
Smart.
Okay, oral hygiene. So poor brushing and flossing can lead to a lot of diseases like gum disease, heart disease. It can affect diabetes, like those kinds of things. So setting a goal maybe of like, okay, I'm just going to floss 3 times a week. Not a day, just 3. Just try and hit 3 to improve your oral hygiene. That's a great goal to start. Like, so wonderful. And it will be so beneficial, especially as you age.
Right.
Because like, who wants to be that person who just has to eat applesauce when they're 85?
That's sad.
I love applesauce, but I don't want it to be the only thing.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, that leads us to, I like how you laid these out, food preparation and strengthening your relationship with food, which I really like. So it's not focused on dieting or necessarily eating a specific way, but more about looking at your relationship with food, which I think is more important. So I like this one. Find a method for not making every meal an emergency. And I laugh because I feel like I do that. I don't think about making a meal until I'm hungry and need to eat. So this might be one of my goals. And, finding ways to make those healthy foods that we know we should be eating taste better so that we actually want to eat them. Yeah.
Yeah. Vegetables are really bitter. And as children, that's why we avoid them. Because we don't like bitter things as children. Like we're conditioned to eat sweet things. So, as you age, hopefully your bitter taste buds come into play a little bit more, but we still carry that a little bit with us. So like, for example, putting honey on your carrots makes them way more palatable if you're not a carrot person. Or cooking your broccoli in a little bit of bacon fat makes it yummy. So, yeah. Making vegetables taste amazing is a skill. And not everyone has it. It definitely has to be developed. Another great kind of goal is dedicated time to work on your own emotions. This one gets overlooked. We lead really busy lives, and all of a sudden you're just like kind of spiraling and all kinds of weird things. So
this is where a therapist can help.
Yes, this is where a therapist can help. Acknowledging your feelings and how you react to them, figuring out what your triggers are. That's, things you can sit down and do. Trying new forms of like ways to interact with those emotions. So like meditation can be really helpful. And, seeking outside support, the one-on-one or group therapy, even like maybe this has been the year that you lost family members. Like group therapy can be really helpful for in that setting where there's a common thread of everybody having that shared experience. So they do understand what you're going through. So that's something that can be really helpful. Because I think sometimes people are like, why would I do group therapy? But there are certain settings where it's incredibly beneficial.
Yeah. Having people around you who understand what you're going through is so important and can be so helpful in like processing how you're feeling and and dealing with those emotions.
Yeah, because sometimes your friends might have the best of intentions, but
Yeah.
they might not be experiencing that. And
Yeah.
so it's, not always the best sounding board.
So another one that I may also adopt is smart spending, and figuring out kind of where you are with retirement, because we're at an age where we need to do that. All right, so the media has accused us, our generation, of splurging all of our funds on avocado toast, which, fair but not totally true. Research suggests that we've actually veered towards the end of hanging on to our money
Yes.
as much as we can, because we are facing economic uncertainty and the crushing weight of student loans. And we don't want to spend that money because we need it to live.
Yes.
Not on avocado toast. So one of the biggest areas we should be researching, working on, learning about, growing in is how to invest and spend smartly. And this is definitely something I want to invest more of my time in, is learning to invest and how to do that so that I can maybe retire someday.
The eighth wonder of the world is compounding interest. It's truly an amazing thing, and that nobody in high school or early college told us about.
Unless you were about retirement in high school.
Yeah, unless you were in economics. Thank God.
Even in my economics class.
Well,
we didn't learn about that.
Somebody did you dirty.
I mean, I went to school in Albuquerque.
Okay, fair. Yeah, so taking time, there's so many resources out there nowadays. It's definitely an important factor that I think is a good goal and resolution to set that has absolutely nothing to do with your physical appearance, but everything to do with your well-being.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's one that I really like: becoming an effective host. And by host, I mean hosting people, interactions with people. We as a culture have definitely drifted away from in-person interactions. We've watched it happen with the rise of digital platforms. We can FaceTime, we can do all of that. And then a pandemic that forced us to be completely isolated and keep to a very small bubble. And then, just people who are naturally more introverted, that definitely
bubble anyways.
Yeah, that compounds on that, because you're now it's really socially acceptable for me to just, be in my cocoon. So knowing how to bring people together, and I think it's becoming even more essential. And so maybe your goal is to host a dinner party, once a quarter, and figure out, how to plan and budget and prepare and bring everybody together and not have those dull moments. And I think that can be a really cool way, one, to just build relationships, but also to hit at a goal that probably not a lot of people have.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
We're going to have more game nights?
Yeah, because now we have more games. Yeah. Shelby got a lot of fun games for Christmas from my in-laws.
Love game night.
Yeah.
It's the only socially acceptable gathering I enjoy.
Great. So you will be attending my forced hosting parties?
Depends on how many new cocktails you make from that Star Wars book I got you.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah. So before we wrap up, do you have any New Year's goals, resolutions, intentions? I know it's only the second, but
it is only the second. I actually do, and one of them, and I've already done it. I'm really bad about feeling like I need to get everything done in a day, and not understanding the power of longevity. You can accomplish a lot in 6 months in a year.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I am working on this year is doing the things that I enjoy versus doing things that I feel like I have to do. So for example, we need to take down our Christmas decorations. I work from home. why do I need to take my day off that I could be spending with my friends doing activities that I really enjoy? Like, I know being physically active is something that benefits my overall health and my mental capacity. And so today, instead of spending the day taking down Christmas decorations, we went to the climbing gym this morning. And we got to climb and hang out. And we were there for like 2 hours. And
It was great.
like, I wasn't stressed about it. Like, I'm trying to just like let that go and be like, it's still going to be there when I get home.
It is.
Why am I going to take quality time away from the things that I enjoy to do things that I don't enjoy? And not that there aren't times where you have to prioritize those things, but this isn't one of them, right? Like, Christmas decorations being up a day later is not going to end the world. Yeah. So that is what I am working on this year.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love that. I know we practiced that last week when you also had a day off or some time off.
It was lovely.
And we also went to the climbing gym.
Yeah. My stress level on my Connect tells me it is very low. I'm trying to keep low stress.
Good.
Yeah.
I love that.
How about you? What do you, other than the ones that you picked out from our list?
I'm just like picking them off the list. I have not followed our advice yet and done a lot of reflecting. But I think we've kind of already talked about this. I think something I want to focus on this year is being selfish. And not in a negative way, but doing things that actually benefit me and are good for me and my life and where I want to be with my life, rather than doing things out of obligation or because they're better for somebody else. So I think that's something I want to work on because I am a bit of a people pleaser. So I think that's something that I'm going to work on.
Shelby and I called it 2023, the year of me and we.
Yay!
Like rhymes. But yeah, I get it. The year of me. I like it. Good job. Yeah.
So that's the first episode of 2023.
Cool. Wild ride. Buckle up. Make sure to tune in next week. We have our first guest joining us, and we're going to be talking about some nutrition and some fitness, and she's awesome, and we know her personally from working out. She was a good friend at our gym. We are all at opposite ends of the country now, but we still maintain that relationship, so that's also pretty cool. Yeah, so tune in next week for that.
And make sure to follow, listen, like, and rate on all of the platforms, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, and Amazon, or you can watch the video on YouTube. And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Also, on Thursday, it's Amber's birthday, so if you don't leave us a comment saying happy birthday to Amber, we will know that you did not listen.